Hey, Dylan, how's it going? All right, Twitch connected, you connected. So far, so smooth today. Did you have lunch yet? I did. I just ate. Just ate some, like a spicy beef Korean soup, yukgaejang, and rice. Just a little soup and rice. And what's up, Reek? Hey, Lego. I think that's not fair. There's tons of great creators in Pacific, though a lot of them are obviously like for local audiences. I think that's something that Pacific, I don't want to say suffers from, but like needs to work around, is all the different languages. Because like EMEA has all the different languages, but I guess the majority of the esports audience is used to, you know, consuming content in English. So, hey, Kami. What are we playing? Probably just some Path of Exile 2, to be very honest. I think Twitch might be lying. Do I have Valorant on Twitch? I don't think we're going to play Valorant. I was playing Valorant this morning. It wasn't enjoyable. Actually, that's not true. Today was not bad. But before we do that, I think we might do a quick review, just of all the teams and where they ended up. Let me just turn off certain commands. Masters Bangkok tier list. I don't see. I was thinking about it. Do one last year? 얘 또 이러네. Uh-oh. My laptop's dying again, chat. I think we're back though. I think, maybe. Yeah, the thing about a tier list. Oh, then yeah. So did I do one last year for Madrid? Let's go back and check. I did. What did I even do? Huh. I guess, yeah, I just did a tier list instead of rankings. The Liquid Vitality. Well, Liquid was pretty good. But Vitality, like, showed up by the end. Yeah, maybe we do a tier list. I guess in my head it is so hard. You know what's really funny is my video for Masters of Madrid was the toughest Masters event, Masters Madrid tier list. We're just gonna use the same title every year, I guess, for the first Masters. Because I think this year is the toughest. How's the camera, by the way, chat? It should be better. But if it's not, then oh well, I guess. Do a bit of rage hate and see easiest masters ever. Chat, my voice is still friggin' shot. I guess, you know, not just from the casting, but then like talking all weekend 24/7. Play today's GeoGuessr. Yeah, that can be a good warm up. We can do that. Some improvements in depth of field and picture quality, but you need some adjustments. What needs to be adjusted? You mean like lighting and stuff? Because I think that's less of a camera problem and more of a room problem. I also can't adjust. Well, I guess I can actually in OBS. I just can't do it in my camera controls. Yeah, I guess I can adjust it in the OBS. Let me actually double check. It might be. Wait, chat. Supposedly my OBS has crashed. We're just gonna let it sit there. And hope that it doesn't actually close. This has happened before. That should be a bit better. Yeah. No, it's definitely happened. No, thanks, Hyper. Yeah, I'll look into the camera settings later. But good to hear that the overall quality is better. That's good. All right. GeoGuessr. Let's do GeoGuessr. Let's warm up with that. It is funny. How does it not crash unless you acknowledge it? Like, isn't the whole point of a crash that it crashes? Can you imagine if your car crashed, but it didn't really? It only happens if you say it does. Hey, what's up, Joseph? Where can the people file a petition to get you back to Pacific? No, I appreciate it. I don't know. Maybe you guys can ask. Well, the chances seem slim with the new president, but maybe you guys can ask the president of the United States. I did see Verno was benched and Bonkar. Who are you even getting? I mean, I think there's options for Verno, but who are you even getting for Bonkar? Like, dude, that NRG news was crazy. Okay, I keep forgetting these are timed. This looks like a neighborhood in Korea, but it's not. Sushi-san? Whoa, I wanted to see the police car. Where'd the police car go? What the heck? It drove off. Wait, what the heck? Dude, we just like time warped. What the? Oh, there it is. Italy? Is this Italy? Doesn't seem like it. Minus chat plus chat. But there's red and green. PT? No, that's gotta be, that can't be the... Doesn't seem like Italian. It's definitely somewhere in Europe, though. This seems like a... Oh, shoot. We're already out of time. Dude. Yeah, what does PT sound like? I don't know. Portugal. It sounds like Portugal. No, it's got to be a city, though. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Dude, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. When I saw PT the whole time, I'm like, Poland? Poland doesn't have a T? What in the world is PT? And then I looked at the map. That was pretty close. Wow. Wow. Well, we got some clues here, chat. What in the world? 2025 Google. Oh, no, I thought that was on the thing. I was like, what the? That was weird. What are these big things? This is just a giant field. 40? Well, it's definitely not America. Somewhere in Europe. Dude, I think this red thing is gonna give me something good. Dude, I would like to go in. Can I not go in? Oh, I can't go in. It's private property. Football? Of what? Futbolski. Alright, which language says football like futbolski? I don't recognize any of these flags. I think they're just club flags. There's a rift in the sky, but I forgot which country that's attributed to. Wait, what? That's not real. That's a... Dude, I don't even... What? Where am I? Oh, I'm in the parking lot. Why can't I come in this parking lot and not the road? Montenegro, what? Dude, wow. Dude, how do people guess where this is? Oh, shoot, I'm out of time. I keep forgetting. Oh, wow. Wait, really? Wait, what? Is it just always present? I didn't know about this. What? Chat, this is a problem. We live in a problematic generation. This is a problem, chat. How? What? Dude, how is that even... I would like the actual... Dude, that's crazy. That's not the Great Rift, though. Oh, it's a result of the... Oh, it's a result of the Google... Okay, I thought... Wait, what? Wait, but why does it only happen in certain countries? Dude, what the... Huh. Weird. Yeah, that seems to be it. Albania and Senegal as well, yeah. Ask the cameraman. Yeah, let's call him up. All right. Dude, can we go to America and Korea? That'd be cool. I guess that kind of defeats the purpose. We got Euros. All right. Burger King. Dude, that looks pretty good. Not gonna lie. Dude, why is that Whopper Jr. so big? Finland. Okay. We're in Finland. Seems like a pretty big mall, no? Whoa, that's trippy. That dude's tripping out. Kipeli Arena. Where is Kipeli Arena? Let's see if we can find something else that gives me a city here. Dude, this is kind of trippy. It's kind of creepy. I don't want to be looking at that. Any like garbage trucks or okay, we don't have time. Oh, they got a food no, that's not a food truck. Oh, jeez. If only I knew. I mean, Subway? Dude, is this a subway train? Dude, I don't even know, man. Not bad. It's up here. Oh, there's the ready. Oh my gosh. We could have gotten it. Some countries have a blur gradient when you look straight down because the car is blocking the camera from recording the ground behind it. Oh. Huh. I was saying that Forsaken mentioned that Paper X is having internal problems. We just might see a change until the next... Wait, what? Where was he saying that? Here to quickly ask about those gacha streams you did last year. Are you going to do more of it now? You just mean like on my own stream? Like playing the games? I might. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't been playing any of them for a little bit. But, you know, I might. Obviously, the ones I used to play had big updates, so... You deleted League. Congratulations. He said in Indo language, somebody in VLR translated that even the royal stuff hasn't been working great. Oh, just like I assume on his stream then. Can we also get a actual marathon stream, like running a marathon? Definitely not, because I can't finish a marathon. I think I would like to try to work towards running like a 5K this year, though. You know, kind of beginner level. Are you a whale? No. I play free to play. I don't spend any money on gacha games. I've spent like a little bit, like season passes here and there in the past. I think on 1 or 2 games, but that's like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I haven't spent money on them. And I highly recommend not doing it for anybody, just because it's a slippery slope. The wife carrying competition. Yeah. Oh, I guess the energy. Yeah, you're right. The energy was a report. It wasn't an actual announcement, I guess. But after the elevated coast stream, my feed became full of True Sight again. Do you think any esports producer would fill the cinematic hall Volvo left us? Yeah, I don't know. Actually, there's definitely a want for stuff like that. I want to do more stuff like that. Not obviously not at that quality level, but I think we are missing that a little bit. Predatory companies ain't this one, Trey. What was I gonna say? What were we gonna do? We were gonna review. We were gonna review what happened in Pacific. No sleep till Radiant. I think even if I was winning, because I'm currently in the middle of Gold 2. So even if I was winning like 80%, which would be ridiculous, that would still take a long time, no? Hey, what's up, Icy? You might love... I definitely love Vampire Survivors. I've played it. I don't think I've like beaten it, but played a ton of it. Played a bunch of the mobile ripoffs of Vampire Survivors. All the different ones. Could technically only take one. I mean, it could. Chat, give me 1 second. Let me blow my camera up full screen. Let's do this tier list. Let's review and let's do a tier list. Let me just upload the team logos. What did I have for the tiers last year? Winning it all, top 4, bot 4, copium. Masters Bangkok. Valorant. There we go. Duo with Ching. Hey, what's up, Jonathan? I would like papers to add an IG on someone like Zelsis to uplift team spirit. I mean, yeah, but two changes is very big. All right. VCT point farmers. Okay. Yeah, what's up, Issel? Juicy transfer rumors. As if I have any. All right, let's do this. Let me upload our logos. I had team logos all in one place somewhere, and I can't remember. Here we go. All right, who do we have going? Vitality, Trace, Liquid, DRX, T1. Where's my Sentinels logo? What the heck? Wait, what? Why do I not have a Sentinels logo saved? Surely I do. Hold on, let me look. Let me search. No, I don't hate Sentinels, guys. My G2 logo is also like a borked one, so... I have to ask about the unprofitability of esports in general, even though tech companies sponsor. Why isn't ROI possible? Well, you say tech companies, but you really mean gaming peripheral companies, right? You mean like Logitech sponsoring, yeah? Like Logitech is no Coca-Cola, right? Do you think it's worth to watch the recent CN tournament? I mean, I think it could be fun. I haven't checked any of it out yet, but you've been one of my inspirations, and I thought you gave the performance a lot of time this past weekend. Thank you, Ramon. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. No, the only academy / coach rosters are the 2 teams that are going to Masters Bangkok. The rest are all, yeah, the rest are all their proper rosters, or at least mostly. Oh, Intel. Well, okay, so Intel, yeah, but Intel doesn't sponsor a lot. I don't think AMD really sponsors any esports tournaments anymore. I don't think Nvidia does either. Not anymore. And even Intel is mostly just IEM. And so IEM does have a little bit. IEM does have a little bit more to work with. But when we say just because something's getting sponsored doesn't mean that you're actually getting a lot of money off of it, right? Like I could be sponsored by Hot 6, but maybe the deal is simply that I get a year's supply of Hot 6 to just drink it on stream, right? Like that wouldn't mean that I'm making any profit off of it. I'd probably just killing myself, like just drinking and just, shortening my lifespan. So, the sponsorship deals, yeah, that doesn't always equate to revenue. Let me download the Sun logo here. But I think in more seriousness, yeah, I don't think the other part of it is that I don't know of many esports companies that are good at getting proper good deals. And also, I don't think it's easy because what am I trying to say here as I try to download this? Because, in the grand scheme of things, viewership, etc. is not... It's not huge. Like, in the grand scheme of things, right? Dude, I just downloaded... Oh, here we go. How do I delete an image? Reset. Here we go. What did I say? Winning it all. Okay. So now I gotta upload these again. So DRX, G2, Sentinels, T1, Trace, EDG, Team Liquid, Vitality. Cool. But why do things like actual sports and televised media continue to do so well? Is it more to do with sports being nationalized and esports being international? Well, that's one thing. That is one thing, right? Because for one, it's easier to sell things when you have a very clear target audience for the target office. But two, it's television rights. Teams are more sustainable in sports because you have arenas. And other merchandise, right? And branding, etc. And also TV sponsorship deals are much greater. And also viewership is simply like larger. It just is, you know. Like esports is getting bigger, and like people can talk all they want about like, you know, highest peak concurrent or like total hours watched is like greater than MLB, but that's also because the MLB viewership is dying. So it's like, you know, that's not a great comparison. But yeah, I would say that it's, you know, sports has branded itself in a certain way where it is, they've come a long way of somewhat being more sustainable and having like teams having their own revenue. But that's why in certain leagues and certain sports, certain teams just aren't profitable and they have problems too, right? Because maybe their arena just like never sells tickets because nobody wants to come watch their team. And it's like, well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, but TV deals are huge, but obviously that's slowly changing as well. But they still sell exclusivity to like, you know, or even just rights to YouTube and Twitch and whatever. Whereas esports doesn't do that. And I don't think they could afford to do that anymore because I don't think, like, I don't see Twitch buying rights. And then also if it's not on every platform, like if it's not on, say, Twitch, then I think a lot of people would have issues with that, right? Just like they did with, you know, the Activision stuff, like CDL and OWL. CWL, I should say. So it's because the esports audience has been so trained to just have everything for free. And also, yeah, Twitch is not doing well to begin with, and like ads and stuff is not that great on Twitch anyway. So it's not like Twitch buying that and getting the sudden, you know, extra viewership would suddenly, you know, like it probably wouldn't be great money to equalize, you know, the spending that you have. Esports takes much less monetary input than normal sports, but are yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think part of this discussion that people have when comparing to sports is I don't think you really understand the just sheer amount of money both going in and out of sports and the sheer sponsorship and awareness, right? Like you name a famous athlete in your country, everyone's gonna have at least heard of him, right? But let's say like Faker's a bit of an anomaly, and even then I would say still he's like nowhere compared to movie actors or, you know, like Son Heung-min or whatever. But let's say Chovy's very, you know, very famous in League of Legends. You think if I just go out on the street and ask about Chovy, people would even know who he is? Probably not, right? Like there is a massive difference in awareness and popularity and like market reach. And I think that also makes a huge difference. So, for instance, $60,000, $100,000. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so for instance, Faker has, if I'm reading this correct, because numbers, I always get confused translating numbers from Korean. But on Instagram, Faker has 1.9 million followers. But Sunny has 14 million. Like, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a gargantuan gap. So the market itself is just like, you know, we think Faker is huge, and he is, but then, and like Son Heung-min isn't, like, he's at the top, I would say, in terms of, you know, how well known he is, but in the top, like, you know, area. but Faker is like literally the GOAT of League of Legends, right? And it's like, and League of Legends is the biggest audience like in the past decade. So it's a pretty big gap. But yeah, like the way business in sports works is, again, you have TV deals, you got arenas, you got more merch, and then in arenas you have a F&B and whatever else, and then and then the sponsorship, you have team sponsorships that actually mean anything, and then in the arenas you have arena sponsorship, and then you have show sponsorships, and then whatever else. And then obviously you have these clubs being owned by, you know, funds and whatnot. So it's like, but then you also have tribalism and regionalism in sports. So it's easier to drive up fandom. And so that matters. And so like all of that, there's just so many more layers. It probably has to do with accessibility. I don't necessarily think so. I think that's the least of the problems. I think that has an effect, but like that would imply that esports is making money in America, which it's not. In fact, it's probably, for the most part, it's probably bleeding more money in America. So oftentimes when we're so focused on industry game country, we think it's massive, but in the grand scheme of global things, it's actually the opposite. Yeah. It's because we also read, like, we also consume our own marketing, right? We see, you know, different articles, or, you know, maybe even Riot or whoever, like, putting out statements being like, we have more viewership than the NHL. And it's like, well, when you say more viewership, like, what do we really mean here? So, but the thing with accessibility, again, is like I'm arguing that we don't even know how to tap the market we do have, let alone expanding the market. Because like, how many of you would pay $5 a month to get to even watch VCT? Right? And then you would argue, okay, is $5 even going to be enough to cover that? Because MLG tried 15 years ago, 10 years ago. They tried. You say yes, but MLG tried to charge people to watch their tournaments, and it literally died. And they had to cancel all of their initiatives. Because, I mean, I would be surprised if even half of my following would pay $5. But then if it's 10, would you do it? Probably less, right? But let's say it's $5 for the sake of argument. So if it's $5, but I don't even think half of my following would do it. And my following's probably the more core audience, right? So it's like the hundreds of other thousand people are not paying and then just not watching. Because here's the thing, they can just go watch whoever stream, you know? What are your predictions for the first round at Bangkok? We can talk about that in a second. We'll do a tier list, although I don't know how meaningful it'll be. Well, sure. Yeah, but I mean, again, it is because it started out free. But, you know, at some point, like, either the audience has to suck it up or businesses have to figure out other ways. And I think I would argue that it's half and half. I do think the audience needs to wise up. It's also because the audience for esports is younger and doesn't have as much spending money. But, I would say that at some point the audience has to smarten up and be willing to pay a bit more at the very least. And then on the flip side, I also think esports companies, and I say that very specifically, esports companies aren't good at making money. They're just not good at making money. Like they're always willing to take these deals of like, we'll slap your logo on and we'll use you, like, can you supply us with monitors? And I'm like, my God, can we get a little bit more money for using their monitors like the whole freaking time? I mean, you say it's the latter, but also I've had to try to I've had to try to go like sell shows and sponsorships, and it's definitely not easy because a lot of these companies are looking at the opportunity, you know, that they have with other things and the cost there, and it's like it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I do think teams can do more. I think teams can do more for sure, but I don't think that's necessarily saving the scene. I think teams can do more, but the thing is like, if the tournaments can't get that much more, I don't know, are the teams really going to get much more? And here's the thing, if the teams really want to get much more, they probably have to do a lot more content, and that's probably not going well. Just off the top of my head, probably the better way to do it is for teams to just like control content creators. And instead of content creators just making bank on their own, like the team makes bank with them, like off of their content. But like that probably won't happen because now we've already started with content creators holding all the power. So it's like I don't know, where do you go from here? And then you have content creators therefore making teams, and they're losing money, right? So it's like 100 Thieves did do a lot of that, and I think 100 Thieves was goated for trying to go that route, and it's probably the only reason they took off at all, to be very honest. But yeah, like purely just talking about the money part. Yeah, I don't think people realize that esports is like when we say it's a money sink, we like mean it's a money black hole. It's not, the way it is right now is not sustainable. And yes, teams, orgs, and like production companies, TOs all can do a lot more, and they're not very good at it. The other problem is they're not hiring people who would be good at it. But the other problem there is that they probably don't have the money to hire the people that would be good at it. So it's like, so somebody somewhere needs to sacrifice their own gain to go out. But we live in a generation where it's all about your own gain anyway. So it's like, yeah, but you're a caster drowning esports money. That joke's funny until I quit esports because it's not sustainable. Are you actually learning something, or just putting in the hours just for the sake of like traditional sports only practice in the morning? Well, okay, but traditional sports also have a physical limit that's stricter than esports, I would argue. And I don't think it's like they only practice in the morning and then they're like out just, you know, just like partying, you know, like I don't think many teams are just practicing for, you know, 2 hours in the morning and that's the only practice they have. You have personal training after that, and then, you know, other things and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because like the Olympian schedules are obviously, Olympics is also a little different, I guess, but Olympian schedules are like really strict. There is a mental strain, but I'll tell you what, because the players are generally younger, if you're only scrimming, for, or practicing, let's just say, let's not use the word scrims, you're only training for 4 hours in the morning, and some team in Korea is training for 8 hours a day, The Korean team's just gonna win. They just are, because that mental strain isn't gonna hit them fast enough, because they're young enough to just grind through it, right? I do think esports should do better with like balance, but that doesn't mean that they can now just go shoot content, right? Like, they should, you know, I think they should take better health care and like do physical training and all that, but that's still time you can't do to brand yourself. But it shouldn't be up to the players to brand themselves. That's what I'm saying. It should be the team to brand themselves and the org to brand themselves, and the players are a piece of that. They're a chess piece in branding. I mean, actual sports also have it better, but it's like, that doesn't, we don't suddenly therefore have actual sports having like 8 extra hours a day to do whatever they want, and then therefore now they're shooting content, right? Like, they're not, like, the players aren't out there branding the team. Some of them might be branding themselves, but like, that's, you know, that's them building their own career or their own, you know, social media branding or whatever. But it's the team's branding themselves, right? Like, the sports aren't relying on their players having to go in for YouTube shoots like every other day. And also, content shoots take a while too, so it's like, it's probably not efficient. It probably wouldn't be worth it. Rito needs to put more money in when no questions asked. Where's all that skin money going? Okay, so here's the other thing. I'm not trying to defend Riot here, but I think there's 2 things you need to remember. One is, obviously, Riot is not a not-for-profit company, so they do want to make a profit, right? So that's one. But 2 is there even a public list? I'm pretty sure Riot is much bigger than you guys think it is. And I'm not saying, and I would personally argue, just from what I've seen and heard, that it's not an efficient company. I'm not trying to get anyone fired here, but I don't think it's a very efficient company. But Riot's a pretty big company for what it does. Right? This is in sharp contrast to Valve, for instance. Which Valve has 336 employees as of 2021. Valve is tiny compared to what they do. Right? No, Valve is an outlier, but that's what I'm saying, is that, like, as for the information I'm seeing here, it says that Riot has 6,000 people. So Riot has 20 times the employees of Valve. Okay. Are they even making as much money as Valve? I don't even know. I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Right? So, like, and then the operation costs of having offices across the world, which Valve does not have. Right? I'm not saying Valve should be the comparison, but I'm just saying, like, put it into perspective here. Right? You have to have office buildings or office rooms in all these different places, right? You got LA, and then you've got like different production branches in EU, then you have the Berlin, then you have the studios in Berlin and LA, then you've got the LCK arena in Korea, then you've got the Riot Korea office, you've got the Riot Singapore office. Yeah, like Riot has a lot of offices, like, yeah, 20 offices. I'm not saying that this is all super efficient, but 20 offices is a lot to operate. So I know it's easy to just say multi-billion dollar company, like, haha, but like, I'm pretty sure the operating cost of Riot is much higher than a lot of people realize. So I'm not saying is it all efficient, right? But, you know, but it is a lot. if we're looking into Tencent, though, why are we looking into Tencent? I don't know much of Tencent's operations. I mean, I obviously know, you know, what Tencent's doing, but they completely focus on making it more regional than international. I'm not catching what you're saying. I don't know if this was a whole other thread in the chat that I've missed out on, because there was a lot. But also, Icy, did you feel underpaid during VCT? The only time I felt I wasn't underpaid for my casting was at the international early on. And I would argue that I was probably slightly overpaid at the international, but there was a very clear purpose to it for making us feel good and comfortable. So like, I appreciated it, but I don't think I've ever felt that I wasn't underpaid. But that doesn't mean like I think it was completely unfair. It just means that compared to the time I'm putting in, it felt, you know, I was being underpaid. But it's not like it I'm not saying every event felt like I was being robbed. Let's put it that way. I mean, but that's why Riot's probably been cutting down on their size a lot, right? And so then, like, we all like to talk about, like, wow, like, game companies are just, like, cutting people. Like, this sucks. And it does. But it's also, like, you know, it's probably a little bloated. Especially after COVID. When you were at ESL, were hosting gigs additional pay? No, I had a 50-50 split for any non-ESL work. So ESL would take 50, I would take 50. And 50-50 is a absolute ripoff. But, you know, I generally didn't have time to do other outside events anyway. Chad, I'm pretty sure like everybody's struggling. I'm pretty sure almost no game company other than maybe Valve. I'm pretty sure everybody's struggling for like in their own standards. I'm pretty sure the general gaming ecosystem is all struggling, especially any company trying to run an esport, for sure. Yeah, and I guess Epic, yeah. So I think Yeah, so some people in chat know this, but Valve is, and this is why Valve is very smart, but Valve is an exception because they basically automate everything. And like, that is their motto. They automate everything. Like, Marketplace makes them money. It's the Steam store makes them money. You know, everything is automated. And so they are very smart about that. Do you know about tier 2 caster wages? Not, I know some, and it's bad, but also I don't think there's really any way to get paid more. And if you want to get into like say tier 1, you have to start with tier 2. So it's like, it sucks, but it's not good. It's not good. Pretty surprising that VCT America's have 4 impressive casters right now, plus all the desk people. Yeah, but they all do like rotations, right? So I don't know how much those guys are making, but I assume there's also a balance of like, you know, therefore you only go in certain days and whatnot. And Sideshow did say Riot pays well, better than Blizzard. I do find that slightly surprising. Well, actually, no, not really. I guess you know, Owl was so blown up in the beginning, but generally Blizzard wasn't very willing to pay a lot, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, for instance, I wouldn't be surprised if the like average rates were higher in Americas, just because not only is it bigger, but not only is the viewership bigger, but also that's just where HQ is, and global kind of runs out of, you know, the English broadcast is the main broadcast, etc. I am positive that the funds for all 4 international leagues is not equal. Like, I am positive. Also because EMEA and Americas is now run somewhat internally, right? Like, you're using Riot space, etc. Whereas in Pacific, it still has to go through a TO, so there's an extra layer of pay. So they raise the guests. I mean, I don't think they do. I don't think they're like, well, America's gets like X, 1.x times viewership, so they get paid. I don't think they do that. But I'm just saying they probably have more. I wouldn't be surprised if they have more money to work with. But I have no idea. I have no idea what those guys are actually getting paid. So like, I don't know. Maybe Blizzard was paying them $10 a cast, and like, some Riot just pays them more. Like, I don't know. Doesn't Riot have an arena in the SCA countries? I don't think they do they? No, LCK has an arena, but Valorant doesn't. LCK has the LCK arena, but we don't use that for Valorant, right? So were you even told why they were no longer interested? I had a debrief. I don't want to talk the details of it just because obviously it can get twisted from my end as well. But also, as with debriefs go, exit interviews go, it's like, and nothing was eye-opening, and nothing. It's not like they're gonna tell me everything. Oh, it was this video.
The base rate, the market rate that some of the
you guys can't see it. Where's this music coming from? Oh, it's the GeoGuessr music.
Was able to acquire the market rate that some of the CS talent was able to acquire, like top level CS talent back 5 years ago at this point. And what I would consider to be market rate right now is about 50% better than what Overwatch League offered me this year. An offer which I considered just to be a non-starter.
This was 2 years ago, right?
I would consider to be a bit more open in this video. Like I said, the base rate, the market rate that some of the CS talent was able to acquire, like top level CS talent back, 5 years ago at this point. And what I would consider to be market rate right now is about 50% better than what Overwatch League offered me this year.
Okay, but I will just say the top tier of CS casters were making like way more than anybody else. Like, even if it's 5 years ago. And that doesn't mean that they're billionaires. I just mean that everyone's just not getting paid much, and they're probably just getting paid properly. An
offer which I considered just to be a non-starter for that reason, because it was below what I considered to be market rate.
But but he's saying that this was 2 years ago. So yeah, Blizzard definitely cut down on what they were spending for sure in OWL. Like, the overall just OWL's quality had dropped during COVID. So that's not surprising.
People who are working an average kind of casting level, and as well.
Yeah, but when he says current market rate, I'm going to assume he's talking about the people who are regulars, right?
And what I would consider to be market rate right now, 5 years ago at this point, and what I would consider to be market rate right now is about 50% better than what Overwatch League offered me this year.
So he's saying that as far as he knows, the market rate 2 years ago, which I don't think would have changed that much, is similar to what the top tier of CS casters were earning 5 years ago, so 7 years ago, which I think that's very, very inflated. I think he's talking market rate of the the regular tier 1 casters who are always casting playoffs onward, which is already like a very small portion of just casting, right? And even then, like, are we talking like, are we talking market rate of League of Legends, Valorant, CS, Dota? Or are we talking also including Rainbow Six, Rocket League, whatever else? Because I'm sure there's a gap there as well.
An offer which I considered just to be a non-starter for that reason, because it was below.
Because if my assumptions are correct, well, actually, maybe market rate in America. Yeah, no, market rate in America, that could be true. That could be true. But it also depends on if it's a league or like weekend tournament, et cetera, right? So. Can I ask you whether it was a mistranslation by Jen that Mako called Stacks and Buzz mid? Not really. It's just the implications of mid is very, we mean it as slander, whereas he didn't necessarily. He just meant it jokingly, like, I used to think that they weren't anything special, is basically what he meant. Like, I used to think they weren't anything special when I was on a team with them, but now playing against them, I understand why they truly are some of the greats, is what he meant. And I think if I haven't actually gone back and listened to it, but if I'm remembering correctly, he probably used a phrase that would be translated as mid. Like, it wouldn't be a wrong translation. It's just that, again, the connotation's like, a bit more obvious that it's like in a joking, loving way in Korean versus mid, et cetera, et cetera. But he's saying 50% greater. So let's say if it's like 100, then it's 150, right? So, yeah, I mean, as far as from what I know and understand, this is more so that Blizzard was offering him way less than they should be, more than everybody's getting paid a lot, right? So, that's probably a big part of it. What he really meant. I mean, it all depends on how you interpret it, right? I used to think they weren't anything special. I used to take them for granted. I used to think they weren't that good, or like I used to think they weren't that great. That's all within the same territory. It just it depends on if how inflammatory / how joking you meant it and how you want to interpret it. But it's all in the same vein, right? The point there is that now having to play against them, I see how really, really good they are. Like, that's the conclusion of that. I think that's the conclusion of the Mako section. The point wasn't that he was calling them mid. The point was that playing against them, it was really, really freaking tough. That was the point. Yo, Syria at 11 p.m. sounds goated. Did you see the news? No, but I closed my Discord. I don't know why I closed my Discord. Give me 1 second. I have a question I gotta answer. Now they show me there actually. Oh, it's the no, I didn't see it in Discord, but I had read about it. But I mean, I'm less interested in who would be going into NRG. I'm more interested in what the hell is going on. But hold on, we're getting sidetracked too much. All right, let's do. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about my beautiful pick'ems. that I am in like the bottom barrel. That I only have 90 points out of the possible 370. Doing great. 25% of it, an absolute F for failure. Oh, I saw the Sean Garris clip. I saw it on Reddit. I saw the Sean Garris clip. Or maybe I saw it on Discord. I can't remember. But I mean, the Sean Garris clip is really just him saying that it's, you know, he had heard about things going on for a while. So it's like, you know, take what you will from that. But so let's talk about this, and then we'll do this, and then we'll play some PoE. This is the normal cam, the back cam, but it's for the S22, so I upgraded it from the friggin' Note 8. I don't know if I'll upload these separately. Maybe the tier list we will, but okay, so I just want to take a chance because we did first impressions of all of the teams in Pacific after like the first week, right, where we had seen all of them play or most of them play, and obviously now kickoff has ended, and just to kind of review where we're at with each team. And before I do that, I should open up my, where's our little notepad? Here, let me organize my windows here. Okay. Okay, well, before we get started, I guess you can look at my beautiful pick'ems. It was going great. It was going great in the first week. And then it just crashed and burned. I literally only got DFM beating GE and then T1 beating whoever. I mean, I guess I had T1 losing, correct? Why don't I get any points for that? Unfortunate. Unlucky. My pick'ems really got ruined by my absolute hopium of Paper Rex, RQ, and Noshim, if you look at it. Because Paper Rex was getting nowhere close to this. Which is, it's something. It is something. Yeah, Paper X really did ruin everything. But let's we can laugh about my pick'ems later. Let's go through. Let's go from the bottom up. Zeta. How do I feel about Zeta? I mean, it hasn't changed because we haven't really seen much more from them. But I guess we know that Jonta is released. Coach Jonta is released, and that was like the one thing I was hoping would maybe change them if he was able to be there in person. I don't know. I have no bearings on how good his coaching would have been or whatever, but it just would have been you, and it's not great. So it is a little concerning. Now, if this is just because he just can't possibly get here, like with a visa, like get a visa or whatever, like I get it. I get it from a, I guess, business/organization move of the coach being released, but this means that XQQ is now head coach. And I'm just gonna go in and say I'm not super hopeful. XQQ's reactions are great, and he was the coach when they got third place at Masters Reykjavik. But he was also the coach for the 2 years after, where they did nothing and just got worse and worse. And I'm not saying that that's XQQ's fault, but what I am saying is XQQ couldn't figure it out, right? So, am I very hopeful that this is going to change anything? I don't think so. And they already didn't look that hopeful because they looked rather stagnant, right? And so there's just nothing to be excited about for this team really anymore, other than maybe Shota. But we have so many frackers that I think having one extra guy that's kind of exciting to watch as an individual is just not going to cut it. So it's not great. I'm not very thrilled with how this is going. Also, I just realized never mind. Nope, we're good. Let me change this though. Yeah, let's do this. So yeah. So I'm gonna be honest, Zeta, this is probably the team I'm least excited for. There's a competition, but they're in the group. And I hope that changes, but like I don't know the Japanese scene enough. I can't even begin to tell you where to start. But I just, something needs to change. And I'm not saying like personnel. I'm not saying personnel needs to change. Maybe that shouldn't change anymore. But I would rather see them at least just go all out. Like I would rather have a Zeta that's just bringing out crazy comps, has depth just getting sent in to frag and then Shota to trade. And it's like not great comps, but it's at least new. And even if that means they get 0 wins, I'd rather watch that Zeta at this point rather than a Zeta that gets by with like 2 wins a stage that have no analytical content to pick apart. And the wins don't mean anything because they're not making playoffs. You know what I mean? Like it's just not, I'm not excited for that. So, yeah, I don't. Least excited for. So just give me something new, Zeta. Just give me something new. As for GE, where'd you get this PoE2 mod? Oh, you guys didn't see the update to PoE2? It was just released like last night. Why isn't everyone downloading the new update? That's crazy. Well, I do plan to play PoE2, but I may not have much time for it. Anyway, well, we got sidetracked. You guys wanted to talk about how much casters get paid. It was crazy. GE, obviously, most likely Darion playing for stage 1. So Darion duel. Yudotan back to Senti. I mean, that doesn't really change my excitement for the team, I guess. I mean, I'm still excited for this team. I am excited for them, but mostly still because of individual opium, right? Like individual player power. I don't know. They looked okay, but did I really see anything that indicated that their ceiling is going to get higher? Not really. I do think putting Darion and Duelist will be better, but I do think they're going to have to shift how they think about, like, how they plan the game. You know? I think I almost think you kind of have to go the route of Nongshim, where you're just sending in Darion to be the bait, and then people trade off of him, because I think the roster is probably really good for that. Whether that's what they cook up or not is And whether they want to cook that up or not is a totally different question. Because is that like really sustainable, and is that how they're going to play with Patrick Hu? Probably not. But like, you know, you can't wait forever, right? So, but yeah, I mean, nothing's really changed. You know, I'm still looking at this team as like you know, excited to see if they can make playoffs, right? But I don't expect to see them at an international just based on what we've seen. We'll do like more in-depth, you know, what do I think teams should change, etc. But these are just my thoughts on them. Team Secret is the other team alongside Zeta that also not excited for. I almost have less to say about this team. I mean, I guess they have the excuse of we changed our coach late, but that's kind of on you. So you know, no, we haven't heard anything for Secret. Here's the thing, though. I do think the more I thought about it, the more I thought about their games, I think TS kind of suffered, perhaps suffered a bit of the same problems as PRX, aka they got too complacent. And what I mean by that is you can't rely on your like individual skills anymore. Right? I'm not saying like PaperX wasn't trying, or I'm not saying Team Secret wasn't trying, but Envy used to bail you out from like all these different situations, right? Jesse Vash is trying to get aces and bail you out of these situations. And in the past, that was good enough for you to be a gatekeeper team. But in the current climate of VCT Pacific, you just can't do that anymore. Everyone's too good, right? That just won't fly anymore. You need to either have the best shooters, or you need to have some form of like decent team system. And I do think that maybe they suffered a little bit from this. I also think they're just not proactive enough. This definitely needs to change. Like 100%. So yeah, but I guess I'm not excited just because also they've also been pretty stubborn about not changing too much in terms of how they play. And so I'm not really expecting a grand change. And it's rough. Boom. Quite excited, actually. Can definitely punch up. You know, Dust9 is great. Also seems to kind of revitalize teammates. Their ante is good, so I hope. The thing is the ante is not going to be great especially now. I think most teams are pretty well prepared to not get anteed, like in a league format. So ante is good. Hopefully spends this time to cook up better fundamentals, right? Their flexibility is still not that strong. I think their own play is still not that strong. But their ante is good. So I'm excited. I think they'll do some damage. I don't expect them to really go, you know, like deep in a playoff run or anything like that. Okay. Oh, wow. When have we ever talked about PaperX this early on a list? You know, as one of the greatest sentinels to ever touch the game used to say, where do we begin? Where do we begin with this team? I mean, one thing's clear. Can't rely on firepower anymore. But what we really mean by that is you're not actually that much better anymore. Right? If you were that much better, you could, but you're just not. The gap is closed. Gap is closed. No structure. Lack of W gaming. No whimsy. I mean, all right, we won't get, but lack of W gaming is, I think, legit. We won't go too harsh on them, but I think so. I will be willing to yield, because obviously from the outside we can't know everything, and yeah, apparently Forsaken had a small little rant without having seen the clip and not understanding the language. Like, obviously I don't know how much of it was like actual anger or not, because the meteor thing, I think, was taken the wrong way by the majority of people, so who knows. But you know, he apparently talked about how the team was struggling to figure something out, which is totally believable. But I therefore I'm also willing to just bet from the outside, like, they did seem to try to change things. It just seems like that ended up being even worse. You know, I think that probably ended up being even worse, where now you're neither this nor that, right? Like, you're trying to escape from W gaming into a little bit more structure, but now you don't have the structure, but you've lost the W gaming. So that's probably a result of it. But then, like, they weren't even, like, you're not even just diffing people in aim anymore. So it's rough. But I think proper IGL / leadership would go a long way. IMO. I think that would go a long way, because that way you could also keep an identity, and you would all be on the same page of, like, this is what we're doing. So it's we'll see. It's, how hopeful am I? I'm not so sure, to be honest. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think they're going to be a bottom of the barrel team. I just don't think they're, currently it's hard to say that they'll be a top 4 team. I mean, you say they need a full anti-strat assistant coach, but, like, if you don't have the identity, that's not going to help you, right? Then you're just boom, like 1.2. You still, I would say that comes later, to be very honest. I would say that comes later. But having better fundamentals, and when we say fundamentals, it doesn't have to be my fundamentals. You just need consistency in your fundamentals, which would then define your go-to style and color. That doesn't mean you have to play every round like that. That doesn't mean you play the same strat every time. But you know what I mean? Is that you needed that. So I think, you know. Now, this, by the way, doesn't mean it has to be necessarily new player. It just needs to be somebody. So maybe somebody picks that up. Mako became an IGL. He was never meant to be an IGL. All of us thought it was crazy that he was new IGL. And yet here he is. So yeah, I think they just need to figure that part of the roles out. Not necessarily like who's playing what agent. You know, but just in my mind, like, my impression is like, yeah, they'll still be a playoff team, but coin flippy after that. You know, that's where I sit right now, just in immediate hindsight. RRQ. So close yet so far. Just like every other damn time. Jemkin's the highest rated player, chat. Jemkin's out here diffing everybody. They still just can't do it. Chobra, you know the fix, Estrella? No, I would actually totally disagree. And I used to be pretty harsh on Estrella. I used to be pretty harsh on Estrella, and I would totally disagree. I would say that Estrella I would, in fact, argue that Estrella was saving their asses in their last couple games for sure. Yo, see you soon with the 1 gift. Thank you. Thank you for the gifted sub. Appreciate it. If you got it, then please say a thank you in chat. Like I would not say that was, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. Because Estrella needs to work a lot to maintain his composure. You say, okay, chat, I don't want to, this narrative that, listen, I think Estrella was inconsistent last year in his fragging, for sure. But his calling was notably good for the team last year, right? And if you don't agree with that, then I'm just going to disregard your comments because I don't think you know how to read good calling from the minimap. But unless we're told like he actually just wasn't calling and it was all a ruse, then sure. But obviously we're just going to believe that he was calling. So, but like, I don't know at what point are we talking that Estrella was the one who was letting the team down? Because I would argue other than Jemkin and sometimes Cushy, everybody was letting them down at one point or another, right? You want to talk about composure? Estrella's out here calling and playing, different agents and still keeping up against Nongshim, who's just causing chaos. And they had to play a friggin' 42-round map. And you want to complain about the IGL having issues? That's crazy to me, right? Consistently number 2 in this match. In fact, the second highest KD, right? Like, even here, yeah, sure, he loses that clutch, but quite frankly, that round should have never gone to the clutch in the first place. So it's like, at what point are we trying to say that that it's him? I don't really think it is. He needs to outcall against better IGLs like Mako, Munchkin, or Francis. I would actually argue that overall his calls might have been better than Francis's in the Red Force match. I would actually argue that. I think the execution was worse, and I think they're worse at adapting individually, right? And Nongshim's a bit of an anomaly because they're really good at adapting individually. But also, you're saying I think he needs to outcall better. You're comparing to what I would consider people in the top 4 IGLs. We don't like who are you even getting? Anybody have suggestions for Paper X? Right? I mean, if you can, that's great. But like, if does anybody have suggestions? Because like IGLs don't grow on trees, right? And I'm always an advocate for invest for long term. I am always an advocate. Benkai, you want to bring in Benkai as the IGL for RRQ? You're insane. Or for Paper X, you're actually insane. I think Benkai's great, but Benkai's calling was not working after a certain point. He used to be really good, and I used to have big hopes for him even on GE. But like, what did you guys all watch a different GE last year when he was calling? Because like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. That's insane. That's actually insane. And I do think Estrella would diff Benkai in aim as well. Like, that's actually insane. And I think even for Paper X, where like, even if you're so desperate for an IGL, I don't think Benkai would be the answer. Brian Song, thank you for the Prime. Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for using your Prime. Benkai's problem is mid-rounding. But that's exactly what you need in today's Valorant game. Benkai's calling was better than Russ's. Oh, I would agree. No, I said thank you. I said thank you to Shiyu soon. They were the gifted sub. I would agree that Benkai's calling was better than Russ's, but no offense to Russ, but that's not exactly the highest standard that we're putting up here. Like, yeah, that's not it's not really, you know. Listen, I'm just saying, I used to be one where I was like, I wonder if people can develop better IGLs. But I think Estrella, for the time, until you can find someone that you think you want to develop, like maybe from the academy team onward, I think Estrella is doing a fine job. Is he a munchkin? No, but like, who is? You know what I mean? Like, and even Munchkin was struggling once he didn't have the full roster that feeds him all the information. They need to develop a new system, right? And then there's the execution problem. Like, you could tell them to do something. For instance, Foxy 9 on GRX was never working out, and supposedly the story is that they were telling him to do stuff and he wasn't following. So at that point, is it really the IGL's fault? Like, you know, sometimes you just need the right combo. And maybe the combo's not good. That's fair. But I think to have watched these games and be like, I think Estrella needs to pull his weight when he's this time around fragging and calling. Now, I agree. Could the calls have been better? Sure. But like, you know, for instance, like, I don't mean this, but I think after watching RQ, if anybody is pointing finger as any of the players, I think that's really messed up. Because then it's like, you could easily just say, well, could Kushi have not like fragged better in the one game that it matters? You know, he was doing so well for the rest of the tournament. You know what I mean? Like, this is a crazy concept, and it's not even because he's Korean. I just think it's especially for someone to put up performances like this while IGLing and pulling his weight after they got into the lower bracket in super stressful games is, I think, a little insane. I think it's a little insane. What I do think RQ needs is, I think they just overall need better consistency. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. I think Magnet needs better consistency. I do. And is that because he's constantly being put on different roles? Maybe. But I do. I think Magnet needs to be better consistent. I think he still sends it down sometimes, you know? I think he still has it in him to just go fight when he doesn't need to. I think he still thinks that he can just fight 1v2, 1v3 when he doesn't need to. And here's the thing. If your whole team is playing that way, that's fine. But, like, you're not, right? So this goes back to what I used to say. I think they got a lot better with this time around. But this goes in line with off-season thoughts, where team still needs to be on same page more often, right? Like, are we gonna rely on beast mode and just like full send? Then full send it every time and play a numbers game. But if you're not going to, everybody needs to understand. And like, Jemkin was one of the people I think used to play like the patient perfect game, and that wasn't aligning well with what the rest of the team was doing. But this time he was really overreaching when he needed to, and then playing safe when he didn't need to, right? So I think that was a big improvement. But I think just in general, there is a little bit of a like, are we on the same page here with the strats or not type of deal, right? I actually think this Viper switch was an interesting game to see, that because Magnet was doing his job, but like the bare minimum. And I don't think that's necessarily his fault. It might just be that the role swap came in too late or whatever it was between him and Estrella. But he's neither getting space nor playing super safe if you watch this game. So it's like, all he's really doing is being a glorified spy cam for a lot of rounds. And I'm not saying that that part is necessarily on Monette, but it is a team thing where it's like, you gotta, like, what is the purpose of this Viper? Does everybody understand? Does Monette understand? Does everybody else understand when Monette feeds this information? Like, maybe it's a problem because when he tells them that there's 2 people here, maybe you should have hit the site faster on C. But maybe if you give the feedback that you can't because of whatever, then maybe Monette needs to create better space again, or maybe somebody else needs to push B, right? Like, there needs to be this flow chart that's a little bit smoother. So I do think that's it just seems like, and I do, when push comes to shove, it felt like they were slower. Like, mid-rounding got slower again, which was always a problem last year. And I actually wonder if this game, part of it was that it's the first time Cushy wasn't fragging, like crazy fragging. Like, he was fragging. He's not like a bot. He finally puts up the biggest numbers in the last map. But I wonder if that also impacted it, right? Maybe Cushy used to be more vocal, and then this match, because he wasn't doing well, like, he was a little out of it or too focused on his own game. That's very probable now that I'm looking at it. And if that's the case, I mean, that might be an easier fix, because maybe you just, this is his, I guess it's his kind of rite of passage of like, okay, I can't just outfrag everybody. But no, I'm not saying he didn't play well. I'm just saying every other game he's like top fragging, like nonstop, right? So it's like that might have been something where he might still be doing his job, but he was getting in his own head of like, oh, like, I can't win these duels, right? And in fact, I would think that's probably the easiest fix, because it's like, all right, like, that's gonna happen, like, we can talk about this. But I think there's obviously a little bit more. Now, we should also note, I mean, this match was just brutal for everybody. So it could have honestly gone either way, right? It could have been a 2-0. And I'm not saying that that's something to rely on, but I'm just saying it's not like doom and gloom. It's not like, oh, like RQ really just haven't figured it out. No, obviously they improved a lot. I think all of them improved a lot. And I think as a team, they improved a lot. But I think they suffered a little. I think they suffered. Yeah, I mean, I think also the Phoenix was just like read through, and then they didn't adapt very well from it. The A fight, like the Tejo was just crushing the Phoenix, so that's a bit of a draft issue as well. So that's credit to Nongshim coming in very well prepared. But when it comes to maybe it's the roles, comms. Something that we don't see needs to build better consistency, but overall improved, greatly improved. Like, we say this because I want this team to do even better, and I think they're fully capable of doing even better. But for just in case anyone's confused, I would still consider contender for internationals. Like 100%, right? I think 100%. So, I don't think it's I don't think it's doom and gloom. I just think I think now, like, aside from me, everyone else also saw that they are capable of going to an international, and then they couldn't. So it's a darn shame. DFM. Okay. So exciting-ish. I'm going to be very honest, though. Like, after the hype died down of them beating Paper X, I don't really, not really seeing a higher ceiling, though. Just going to be honest. Right? after the hype died down a little bit, I just, yeah, like everyone can frag. Everyone can frag. I would say Akame impressed. I would say that. GN looks better, which I suspected. GN looked better. Expected. But I you know, I think they won't be a bottom team. I just think they would just be playoff contenders, right? Like that's just I just think yeah, it's not.
So you soon gifted a tier 1 sub to Omayanara. They have given 8 gift subs in the channel.
Yo, see you soon. Another gifted. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, I just think honestly, this team, I don't really even know from the outside. Like, there's nothing that speaks to me very clearly from the outside of like, oh, I'm seeing like a lack of confidence or a lack of calls or, you know, not good prep. I mean, I think against Genji they did play scared, but I think Genji was also just playing like super confident. So, you know, there's not, but I think that's, but it's not like they were playing scared against Paper X, right? So my job, let's go. Thank you. So it's, you know, I mean, I think they'll do better. But I guess I hope they do much better for Japan. I hope so. Yeah, I think that's fair. Definitely has cohesion. Vibes seem good. Some good anti plus trading came alive. So, you know, they've got good pieces, but just not seeing ceiling to be like super high. The map pool, oh, I didn't even thought about that. It's actually been so long now. It hasn't actually been that long, but it's been a hurricane. You mean like with the maps coming in as well? I mean, yeah, I think that's something we can maybe discuss once the time comes. This is really just the impressions from kickoff because things are going to change. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. By the end of the tournament, art didn't seem super noteworthy. And you say Ascent's coming back, but what if they fortify the wall on B? Now he's out of a job. He's going to be friggin' watch partying with me, chat. You just can't Odin through that wall anymore. What happens then? You know? It's it's not great. He wasn't using the Odin as much towards the end. But I think you have to do that. It's also, the Odin's such an extra investment, economically speaking. Okay, Nongshim. Still hopeful, but slightly disappointed. And I'm disappointed in their adaptations were less than expected. And probably the biggest thing they learned was a huge lesson. Welcome to tier 1, right? Dombi's Neon's still good, but not enough. I think that's, you know, I think that was a lesson they had to learn. I think they had to learn it the hard way. And also, but also I think it should be noted that the deeper lesson learned here is teams are better at countering with tools like the Vice and the Deadlock. I think, like Primity's deadlock was shutting things down. Not only was he fragging, but like his deadlock was actually pretty good against Nongshim. So I think they need to fix their comps a little bit. I think they need to get less reliant on Dambi creating space. Like, he doesn't even need to get frags, but the thing is now you're not even able to create space the traditional way of just sprinting around, because people are countering how you move or how you're being set up. And you just need to learn that. They picked up the Teo later. I would say it wasn't that great. It wasn't super convincing. I think it was better once Francis was playing it, but compared to the likes of Freeing and whatnot, I think it was still a little bit. They weren't trading Dambi enough. That's true, but it's also because they were playing as if Dambi was going to get like 10 extra meters when he couldn't. So, I think they know, though. I think they know, which is why I'm still hopeful. Like, people who don't know this squad are going to look at this and be like, they're really shallow. They only play Neon, and they're only sending him in, and that sucks. But the way they were playing last year, like, they had comps where they knew the extra layers, and they knew how to work around it, and they had good fundamentals. So I am still hopeful and faithful that they'll relearn that. They'll reawaken that. It's just, I do think they should just get off the Neon, right? Just stick with another duelist for now, because to learn new style timings, break habits. I think that's the biggest thing. I think you just need to break some habits. I would say that they are still a contender for internationals, but perhaps not as high as some of us had originally rated or hoped that they would be. So, yeah, it is funny that the two Neon maps are the ones they won, but arguably it's not because of the Neon. Well, I guess Pearl, even Pearl, I think it's the Tejo more than the Neon, but no, I'm sure they have been. I mean, they started, slotting in the Rays on a couple of maps. And I think they'll be smart enough to break away from that. But I guess there is a question of, is their adaptation too slow, though? Tejo release timing, because maps and agents, I think maps are going to continue to change, etc. So you can't lag behind anymore. So I think they need to sort out like why they were lagging behind. I mean, the Neon nerf played a big part too, but it's like they thought they could still get away with it, but they learned their lesson the hard way. Hard way. Talon. Now we're in the top 4. Talon. Where do we begin with Talon? This was a painful match to watch. This was a painful match to watch. This was a rough one. Create an actual team system. I do think they need a better... I feel like saying they need a better system is such a cop-out answer. Listen, I'm just going to say this, man. This team is not fair to Governor. And I'm not saying Governor would have been the GOAT if he wasn't on Talon. I'm not saying that, but... this team's just not fair to Governor. Yeah, I don't know. I do think Cruz puts a lot of pressure on himself. I do think he locks up a bit, but I think there's just a deeper rooted like are we focusing on Premier or not? Right? If yes, how? Like, because if he's just going to trade, then like, what are you doing? Are you just gonna? Is all 4 other people just peaking? You know? I think this how portion execution is lacking, right? Like we get the idea a little bit, but it's rough. And I will say, I don't know what's going on with Jit Boys. Not sure what's going on with Jit. Because, like, Jit used to be, like, such a promising controller. And now he's just kind of there? I mean, I guess he fragged out in this match against Nongshim. But that's because of the split more than anything. He did... Oh, you know what? I do remember this. The split was really good. The split was really good. But... I'm not seeing enough rounds from him. Like, I'm not saying he's bad. I guess I'm just saying he's not exceptional. That's what I'm saying. Because I used to have a very... very big expectation of him because of how he played in 2023, right? So it's like the way I'm viewing Paper Rex. I'm not saying Paper Rex is suddenly going to be a bottom 2, bottom 4 team, but they're just no longer an exceptional team. And to me, it's kind of the same thing with Jit Boys, where it's like when he pops off, but the other times he doesn't. But he used to pop off whether the team was winning or losing. So I'm not quite sure. And it could be comms, but it's like, could be comms, but we've had that problem since last year. So and it's, you know, maybe it's always going to be a problem if you keep picking up just Thai players, but maybe then you need to only suck it up and only pick up Thai players who are fluent in English, or maybe regardless of player quality, you have to give up and go with a full Thai roster or whatever. So it's rough. And I think now you have to start to wonder, is it better to shoot for, I don't know, what's a good phrase here? Is it better to shoot, or I guess let's put it this way, right? Is it better to just go for easy points, right? i.e. not grand strats. Like this whole super flexible comps and all the different ideas and all that. I love it. I'm a huge advocate of that. But if you're having comms problems and, you know, the chemistry is not there, etc., should you just accept it and work with what you have, right? Do you at this point does maybe Frost and Jovi just have to accept that you work with what you have? And they may not want to. Like, I honestly, I'm the type of person who's like, I don't like to settle for less just because those are the pieces I've been handed. I totally get that, like, from a personality standpoint. But if it's not changing, like, you do have to work with what you got, right? And I think maybe that's something. Gecko main clutch king sub player noise intensifies. You just hear the dizzy like beeping, like beep 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 beep, and then friggin' CGR shows up out of nowhere. I do think that this is something that I'm saying from the outside, you have to start wondering, right? And maybe that's not the answer, but we've now come at a point where it's like, from the outside, this is the easiest next thing to look at of like, I don't know, man, maybe you just gotta shoot for 4th place again instead of, trying to shoot for 1st place, right? Do you feel like Frost doesn't have control of the team enough? I wouldn't be surprised. Well, so I'm like 100% sure. Well, okay, 100's extreme. I'm 99% sure that Frost probably does not have the type of control that he would want. And I'm not saying this because it's Frost. I'm just saying you've got a guy coming from America, coaching in a very different style, coaching a Thai team where not everybody speaks English. He's not going to have the full control that he wants. That's 99% true. But what part of that is like simply, is it like the strictness? Is it the style? Is it the comps? Like what part of it is, is that missing percent? That I don't know. But, for sure you don't have all the control. But also, again, not to undermine that aspect, but probably no coach truly has all the control that they want, whether it's management bugging them or
gifted
whatever else it might
sub
be.
To Redspl4T. They have given 8 gift subs in the channel.
It's Red Splat, you silly bot. Thank you for the gifted sub. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you, Shiusoon. Just sprinkling little gifteds here. So, I'm not saying that Frost probably does have, basically any global coach that comes in globally from outside of that country, like that the team represents, is going to have a harder time than anyone who's from the company or from the country. But, at that point, do you have to accept it, right? I don't know, but it does make you wonder from the outside. Gen G. Gen G. It's one of two things. Either super strict training to build same comm system as last year, or discover a new system. I think it's one or the other. I quite frankly can't tell you, because the first part is totally dependent on what the players are capable of and what you're seeing in your practices. So we can't comment on that from the outside. But this is, I think, maybe worth looking into. Now, this is all under the pretense of, like, in order to win again, right? I think otherwise, they'll be just fine. Like, they'll still be a top 4 team, I think. They'll probably still go to champions. Like, I don't think that's necessarily in question. I mean, well, maybe they'll be fighting for 4th place at the minimum. Let's put it that way. So it's not like they're suddenly getting shoved out, but I think they need to figure out a new system. Honestly, I quite liked the Foxy 9 bodyguard system, where Munchkin's able to just go out and get info, and he's got a bodyguard who's great at aiming and fighting, following him around. I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, they definitely, the comms are definitely poor, because so many melon rounds, right? And I think that's just a clear case of, well, I say comms are poor. I should say calls, but that's, including comms. So it's not just like Munchkin making poor calls. It's just that the process of making the calls is going very slow. So they need to figure something out where they can get that better. They need to feed Munchkin better information faster. Now, I think one of the easier fixes is Yo Man probably needs to do more, like outside of the game, in terms of like comms and intel and whatnot. But I don't think that alone fixes it. And honestly, if that's the only thing, then I think you still don't have like a fail-safe system. So I think they need still one extra layer. But the thing is I think Yeoman will do more. I do think Yeoman can fill that role fine. But then what do you do with the Meteor role, right? And quite frankly, I don't think Foxy 9 is capable of getting the same type of value. He might get the same net value, but I don't think he's capable of getting the same type of value that Meteor gets. So how do you remedy that? And like what I said on Plat Chat was, Charon may need to do more. Right? Knows system, knows coach's style, etc. So Charon may need to do a bit more, which is always, there's a limit because he's going to be usually the main controller. But I think, yeah. And then also, timeouts. Also, if new system might need earlier timeouts, for sure. But I will say, I still have a lot of faith. Just faith. We'll just wait to find out. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm concerned for this team. Like, they need to figure out a new system, and I don't know what it is. Like, I think I can kind of see the big picture of what direction they need to go. Obviously, I just don't know if they're capable of doing that. But because only they know. But I have faith. I have faith with the coaching staff and the core players that they have. I think they'll figure it out. Texture also had a rough match. And then he gets 2 aces. Texture, stop getting aces. T1 should have subbed Sylvan back in on the finals to avoid the second place curse. They should have just put Carpe in just to get to second place and then brought Sylvan back in. Jokes aside, I don't know. Okay, first of all, let's just say what it is. Carpe looked real good. So I don't think you can. I mean, we can question the process, but I don't think Carpe played really well. I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, I'm still not sold on Stax's mid-rounding. It's not bad. It's just not exceptional. And like his go-to is equals I go find frags and space. And it's like, that's just not a reliable way to call a game. Like, Munchkin does it too, but like that's when he really needs it. But like they don't do enough team adjustment before Stax goes, I'm going to go lurk and find kills and then tell you guys to rotate. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to still have other tools in your bag. And I think this is... And the thing is if you don't have this puts strain on either Stax or coaching staff for timeouts. So it looks a little rough. They are very much still very reliant on winning intentional muddy Valorant, if that makes sense. Like, it's very like, we have the firepower, so we're gonna out trade you. Do they need better set plays? I mean, they don't have the best set plays, but I think it's also just because, like, when you're playing ISO comps, your set play is let's get frags. So And I actually like that they were using the undercut just to like push people out and stuff like that. It wasn't always tied with another combo. Things like that. I do think also just needs less pressure on themselves for sure, man. For sure. They gotta loosen up. I think that's gonna, if not, it's gonna be such a hard wall for them to break through. They need to loosen up for sure. And then some comps are, let's say, high risk, high reward, right? Like the Chambers, the ISOs, like it's very much Meteor needs to get kills, and it's like he's very good at getting kills, but like when that doesn't work out, then Stacks is like, okay, plan B, Stacks go kill. You know what I mean? Like it's not a reliable way to play. So I think they need to loosen up. I think they're still very talented. I hope they look better at Bangkok. I know they're capable, but whether they look better or not is entirely up to them in terms of, again, pressure, comps, whatever. But I hope they look better at Bangkok. But I'm going to be very honest, chat. I'm not convinced. Not convinced. But it was a banger. It was a banger finals, though. It was a banger finals. And both teams played very well. They did. You know, Buzz playing out of his mind. But the split was unfortunate. The split was a little rough to watch, to be honest. Well, Autumn tells him which side to go. It did work. The timeouts did work. Honestly, I do think it's, you know, if they held on to their mental a bit more, honestly, who knows? I do think it was a bit of a mental gap, for sure. So, yeah, we'll see. I guess what I want to add to these comps, though, is some comps are high risk, high reward, which amplifies pressure, right? So it's like, what do you do there? They did run out of juice. But again, I think that's partly like what they're playing and how they're playing it, right? You're playing a Chamber solo Sky comp. Now your Raze has to just go in and get kills. Your Viper has to create space, like with frags, with contact. You know what I mean? Like you're forcing yourselves into these situations where you just have to outplay, which is then going to have a higher mental stack. So it's a rough one. It's a rough one. So I think that could be something they need to look at. Meanwhile, DRX, very impressed. Coaching staff is goated, for sure. Hyunmin is that guy. Like, Hyunmin's gonna, I'm big on Hyunmin. Buy now. Hyunmin stonks. Like, 100%. Hyunmin is, like, dude's just chilling in a best of 5. He's out there getting frags. He's just happy. He's just playing Valorant. He just knows he's better. He plays as a team. Gets solo frags, styles on the others, etc., etc. He is the full package. I am big on Hyunmin. I would say that Freeing and Bane definitely got a little soft towards the end, right? Not too many assists, not too many frags. Like here, Bane was still getting lots of assists. He was getting crazy good assists, by the way, here. But, you know, I do think bit of an endurance factor still. But they are the ones that won, though. Right? So it's hard to criticize that when they're the ones who battled through it. Obviously, their Teo is goated, freeing, one of the best. I was very impressed. Mako impressed with his IGLing. I thought he had several good reads and decent mid rounds. It's not perfect, but it was very impressive. I think it was very impressive. Bane's assists were good. Flashback was like a little, you could tell the pressure was getting to him a little bit, but he battled through it. Arguably Freeing's worst series. I mean, is it? I don't think so. What is his worst series this tournament? I mean, technically the upper finals. This was one where he wasn't just out-fragging everybody. That is true. I do remember. Here is 2250, 4728. Yeah, I mean, I guess the upper finals, technically speaking. But, yeah, the last map was rough. But honestly, like, their impressive set plays are still great. But they're much more fluid. Can rely much more on trading and zoning now than before. Which is going to help because that means they don't have to run through their playbook as fast. And then when push comes to shove, Termi can call a timeout and bring out the playbook. So I think they'll be okay. Flashback. I mean, I think his whiffs were probably the pressure. So I think the pressure part goes with that. Bane said on stream that Hillman told all of them, don't worry, I'll carry, because he saw there was the mental was taking a toll. Really? I'm not surprised at all if you look at their player cams. I mean, that's huge, though. For the rookie to come in and say that, that's massive. To all the Twitch viewers, I'm going to go back 1 hour in the stream to look at what you said. Wait, what? Why are you... Clifton, what are you... What are you doing? Why are you trying to roast the Twitch viewers? That's pretty goated, though, supposedly. Supposedly, Hyunmin told everyone he'll carry to keep their mentals in check. And that he did. That's actually insane. 246. I mean, yes, you're on a raise, but still. 9-3, first kill, first death. That's pretty awesome. I'm very excited for this team. Super excited for this team. Yeah, I'm curious what they'll do. I'm curious what they'll accomplish. Okay, so let's talk Masters Bangkok. We'll do like a, don't worry, we'll do a preview, like proper preview before stage 1. But let's do a quick little tier list of Masters Bangkok. This is all taking much longer than I was originally planning. But so we got 4 tiers here. We got winning it all, VCT point farmers, because the top 4 gets VCT points. Nice try, and then happy to be here. Quite frankly, I don't think anyone's just happy to be here. This is definitely, like, I know I said this last year for Madrid, but this is definitely the toughest Masters to rank tiers, just because I don't think there's anybody that's like too well. Liquid, I mean, Liquid is happy to be here. They weren't really looking like it in the beginning, but yeah, I don't think there's any huge things. This does make it sound worse. You know what? Fine. You want my true thoughts? Crash and burn teams. All right, chat. How's that? How's that? Okay. Winning it all. This is tough because I don't think anyone really stands out. But we're not, this isn't final, but like, I mean, I think this in no particular order is pretty reasonable. Yeah. How do I change the background again? Here we go. There we go. I think G2, listen, it's funny because I am lower than I used to be on Vitality. Most people don't seem to be thinking that. But, yeah, I am a little bit lower on them than I used to be. No, Liquid's not winning at all, chat. Like, Liquid was impressive. They were impressive, but Liquid is not winning at all, chat. Liquid is not winning at all. They're not. They're not. And no, I will not put anything on the line because I'm not stupid or crazy like some other people. But they're not winning at all. They're dark horses, sure. But no, here's where I'm torn. I don't know if I would put EDG up here because you look at their grand finals and it's like, okay, maybe I do put them up here. But then you look at everything else and it's like, well, they're probably just, you know, top 4, right? And it's, I don't know about that. And I also think Trace, like, would have had an argument, to be honest. They were looking really good going into the grand finals. But, you know, it's, and like, honestly, on paper, like, I would rate Trace over EDG, but then in the grand finals, EDG just showed up, right? You think Liquid has a white horse, actually? I think, man. You think really though? You think, I mean, I guess G2 did, no, G2's good, but like, is G2 that much ahead of Vitality? I don't necessarily think so. I think Sen making them bleed showcase that they're not that far ahead. I'm not saying that G2 is bad. I just think everyone else is like good enough for them to not be in a league of their own. You know what I mean? Huh, there's only one team left and only one tier left. Huh. Huh. Funny how that works. Haybay's, that's true. Haybay's not getting paid. Oh, Haybay's not getting paid. Oh my gosh, Trace is gonna crash and burn. Their IGL's not getting paid. Oh man. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. How much do you think Hebe actually cares though about this whole thing? So he'll actually need the prize pool instead. Oh my gosh, you're right. Never mind, they're winning it all. The motivation is there. Do you think there's like bad vibes on the team though because of that? We don't want to read into it too much, but man. Okay, but like who Okay, so personally, let's just let me put these in. EDG is so weird, man. EDG is so weird. EDG is so weird because in my head the order should be I think T1 might be below Liquid for me. I don't know. What's wrong with this list? This is so reasonable. What are you guys upset about? You guys upset about Liquid being above T1? Wait, why is Sen crashing and burning? Chat, Sentinels just had a great grand finals. Why are we just hating, or like what's going on here? EDG over Trace. Vitality, I don't know, man. I can't get rid of the visions of the first two maps that Vitality played in the grand finals. They looked so bad in the first two maps of the grand finals. They looked lost. They looked like they had never played these maps before. It was rough to watch. It was like, this was not, like, no. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I think if Sen keep forcing Euro on every map, they'll crash. Yeah, and America's was very Yoru pilled, which I'm not surprised about. I like the Yoru, but I mean, in all honesty, yeah. Honestly, this isn't an unreasonable list, chat. I am pretty big on DRX. But I think they're more likely to go here. Man, a Trace against these other teams is an interesting question. Yeah, no, I am taking into account that China finished their split first, so they've had time to retool and prep. Dude, Trace is good, man. Trace is good, though, chat. Trace is actually good. I don't think DRX will go far. I think DRX... No, I think Hyunmin's going to be the game changer for DRX. I really do. Flashback, I can see shaken up. I don't think Freeing will have too much of a problem. Flashback, I can see getting shaken up, but... I think Hyunmin's going to be a big game changer. Yeah, I am curious how they'll do, but the way they were playing should be pretty... The thing is if this was a 12 or 16 team, I think Trace would very comfortably be in like the second tier. But with it being 8 and like every team really looking good, it's Hyunmin needed 3 maps of the grand final before shooting back though. No, but I do think that's partly just how they were playing. Oh, my cam turned off. Oh, because I don't have it plugged in. GG. Now we'll never know who truly made this tier list. I think... No, I'm pretty big on Trace. Oh, but I'm pretty big on Sen too, though. Can we just not have anyone crash and burn? This is... it's rough. If we put G2 on Vitality and S tier, then it would be ignorant to put Sen and Liquid under point farmers. Well, I mean, but then, like, then they should all be here, no? They were all close. So... Yeah, I think I'm... Man, Trace? Trace? I'm so big on Trace, though. I am big on Trace. You know what? I'm pretty big on DRX, too. Hyunmin, I'm so Hyunmin pilled. It's not even funny. I'm so Hyunmin pilled. I am so Hyunmin pilled. No, I think No, I don't think Hyunmin's that unstable, chat. I think he just plays what the team needs him to. I don't think so. I can count on one hand the rounds that I thought Hyunmin was like individually inconsistent. You can't just look at the eventual stats and be like, this guy's unstable. I think it's more just he plays what the team needs him to, and then when he wants to, he'll carry when it's needed. Am I this high up on G2? But then I guess Sen being in Nice Try is kind of not fair, because the reason I would be high on G2 is because Sen really gave them a challenge, and I think they still overcame it. But there was also some mud in that match too. So it's tough. Look at Stephen Liggy's belly button trying to get my attention with the one singular bit. If you don't put Liquid in winning at all, Sliggy will come for you. I mean, no, he won't. He'll be too busy co-streaming. Hypernova, thank you for the 1 bit. Here's your attention. Oh, man. You know what? I'm fine with this, chat. This is in relative order. No, we're not putting 2 in each. That's crazy. What kind of tier list is even? That's crazy. I don't need to put 2 in each. Is there okay, just so we're very clear, is there hype for DRX? Yes. Yo, Klepto with a 2 super chat. This grabs your attention? Wow, it does indeed. You know, I got little alarms that ring in my ear. Appreciate it. No, there's hopium. You know, there's hopium. There's hopium onto DRX. But it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy. DRX G2 Spenwad. Thank you. I think I read that correctly. My eyes are deceiving me. Thank you for the Prime sub. Thanks for using it on this channel. You know what, chat? No, we're going to stick with this. Because here's the thing. Let me just put out a disclaimer. That that for this Masters, I know we had some fun with the titles, but quite frankly, like, all teams are great. Okay? Let me just put out that disclaimer, all right? None of you try to slander me with anything else, because it's really, honestly, there really should just be 2 tiers. That's probably what it is. I'm not believing in... I mean, chat, you know how much it pains me to put T1 in Crash and Burn? You guys made me change the name of this, and now you're like... Okay? So all teams are great. All the teams are really, really good at this Masters. But okay, here's my reasoning. I do think I have a hard time believing T1's gonna figure it out, so to speak, by Masters. And I think the competition is so tough that they would have to all be playing at like peak form to reliably get out of Swiss stage. And I think that's just too much to ask, right? That doesn't mean they're a bad team. I just don't think they have the time to remedy what they need to. So I think it's tough. And then Liquid, I think the way Liquid was playing was a little bit. I do think it's abusable, right? Like Nats going for very, very deep lurks. Like there was a pattern by the end, and I think, and individual, it's similar to T1. Like individually they're great. But the way they're playing as a team doesn't seem like really, really solid. You know what I mean? There's not enough foolproofness and fail-proofness in the way they were playing. Like it's very reliant on certain contact plays and whatnot. And both of them have weird contact-based Lotus comps. So I think that's a little rough. All right, Klepto, thank you for the super chat. That's the PR answer. Now tell us, who do you hate? No, really. I'm excited for this Masters. As for Trace, honestly, they're only here because somebody needed to be in the 3rd tier. I'm actually really big on Trace, but it's hard to rate them over EDG just because like EDG showed up and then Trace like couldn't. They just couldn't do anything. Obviously only in the last map, but you know what I mean? Like they were broken in the last map. And I think that's rough. EDG is honestly, they're only here because of their aura, plus you just never know in this team. There is a big question mark for the 2 Chinese teams in terms of how will they play with or around Taeho. So I think it's a big question. I think they'll both be okay, but I think EDG might get a little too crazy with it, to be honest. So I think they might get a little too crazy with it, to be honest. And then, I mean, listen, DRX G2, Vitality, Sen, I mean, obviously Sentinels, I think, Sentinels and G2 both have a very good read on the meta, IMO. I think their finals maybe looked a little bit muddy just because they were both challenging each other. and had good reads on each other. So they might both be, near the top in some ways. But I think them both being, very comfortable with the current meta and like defining it in their own terms is a huge boon. But there were definitely a lot of hero moments for Sentinels as well to keep that final going. So a little bit of a half a step down. Vitality, I don't know, whatever, they got a little bit of craziness thrown in their faces, and then they looked dazzled and dazed for 2 maps. So I do question, again, this is another team where it's like individually, yeah, you are a super team, you proved it time and time again, but like what happens when some of that is read, right? What happens when certain parts of your what happens when a team like Liquid is getting ahead of things and breaks your timing, right? How fast are your adjustments, right? In some ways, it's similar to the current Gen G. How fast are your adjustments? Maybe similar to, RQ. Maybe to a certain extent similar to T1. How fast are your adjustments? Not that fast. So I think that's why. I mean, considering we only had space for 2 because I didn't want to put everybody in the first tier, that's the only reason why. And then G2, I mean, they were my favorites to win it from the very beginning. They still won America's Final despite being challenged and Sentinels having hero moments. So they were able to lock it down. They were able to focus up. They were able to stick to their game plan even if things got muddy. And they have a really good read on the meta. So that's no surprise. DRX, I think, they are super Tejo pilled. And I think they will only get better with the Tejo going into Bangkok. So I think that's a huge boon. And honestly, I'm just really Hunmin pilled. I'm really Hunmin pilled. I think that's the big one. So I think that's a lot of hopium and hype here for DRX for sure. Yo, Seismic Chef, thank you. Thanks for the raid. Welcome. Hope you had a good stream. Welcome. So, DRX, yeah. I mean, listen, we're from Pacific. We got to root for our boys. I will just say, I think Hyunmin has the right balance of ego. The biggest question mark for me would be Flashback. Like, can he start off comfortable and stable, right? So, hopefully that's something they can work on as a team. Plus RR minus brain cells kind of day. Yeah, that does sound like a W because we're probably losing brain cells one way or another anyway. So, it sounds like a W to me. All right. Hyunmin's gonna get it. No, honestly though, that's the thing. This Masters, like any team can win. There's even with Liquid, if Liquid wins, I wouldn't be shocked out of my mind. I think that would be the biggest quote unquote upset, right? I think that'd be like the whoa, wow, cool storyline. But I don't think it would be the craziest thing, right? And then, I mean, T1 would also be a little bit of like, wow, they did it. But, it's not like, holy cow, I can't believe this group of players won, There's not a single team like that. This one is looking super hype. So, no one's crashing and burning. I don't think anyone's crashing and burning. Maybe T1. But I don't think anyone's crashing and burning. So, that's just because we were too nice in our previous title. Your favorite teams are G2, Vitality, and Liquid? Yeah? Well, that works out perfectly for you. Oh, that's true. Kiko is half Thai. Here. They get to go a step above. There, the half tie buff. No, I honestly, the reality is, chat. The reality is, here's my real rankings. Okay, here's my real tier list. I think my real tier list would be something like, oh, it's tough, man. Honestly, it'd be something like this, but obviously not. We can't have 6 teams in the top 4. So you know, who do I think will actually, what do I think the actual 4 will be? Like predictions of who's getting out of Swiss? Dude. So brutal. Okay, I mean, I do think it comes between these 3 teams. I do think it's between these 3 teams. Oh, man. I honestly, if that's the case, then it's probably these 4. No, but that's like 1 per region. That's like too good. This is probably my real. This is probably my real ranking. Yeah, but we'll go with this. We'll go with this. Chat. Here it is. I mean, again, I think doing a tier list this time was kind of pointless. Because when we did it for Masters, I think there was still a pretty big gap. Right? When we did it for Masters last year, I think the expectations were there was a pretty big gap. Obviously, the Carmine Corp didn't quite work out very well, but you know, for this year, I think it's much closer. I think it's much closer. You're just jinxing DRX to lose to Sen again? No. You see, Sentinels are the Pacific Killers, but Hunman's Korean American, and he'll suddenly hear the screech of the eagle deep in his heart, and he'll start waving the American flag, and then Hunman will out Zelsis, and DRX will win. For those who don't know, Hunman's Korean American. So I have faith. I have faith that the freedom will ring true in Hunman's heart. Oh man. No, I am pretty big on DRX though. I am pretty big on DRX. What in the meme was that explanation? Let's do top 10 players. So I'll do top 10 players tomorrow because I was thinking about it, chat, and it's like it's real hard. It's real hard. For those who don't know, this starts next Saturday or next Friday or whatever. But top 10 players is really hard. I mean, my top 10 players would be players to look out for. Well, no, I guess it'd be a little different, but I mean, okay, we'll do a preliminary run, but we'll do top 10 players tomorrow because I want to actually have a little bit more structure with it. But like, just off the top of my head, I mean, like, candidates, right, would be Jog, Jonah, Leaf. I mean, Valen is kind of, Zekken, kind of, Bang, Kai, Feng, kind of. I mean, Kong, Nobody. Smoggy, Simon, Chichu, Safe, Durka, Les, Kicks, kinda. Honestly, Kiko. I would say Nats. Maybe even Patty. Freeing, Mako, Hyunmin. And at that point, I'm like the biggest Buzz glazer. And I'm like starting to think, do I even have room for Buzz? Probably not. Meteor, probably. Right? So even if we take out all the parentheses, it's like, I mean, but then I just have to put in everyone on Liquid. And let's be honest, like, I don't think I'm putting him. Oh, you know what? Patatek should be a parentheses. That's true. But if I take out the parentheses, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Like, this isn't sustainable. It's tough. It's tough. No, I'm just saying first draft. No, but you see what I mean? Like, if I put in Trent, we're going to be at like 25. Because I'm going to put Trent and Kamik in, and then it's like, you know, and then some of the guys I had in parentheses should probably be on the list, and it's like, you know, it's like, that's where I was torn, because I was like, Trent should be in there, but, you know, no, but I think legitimately EDG, like all 5 of them should be in there. They're all really good. No, 2 per role is it's a different feel, though. Dude, what is this Simon slander? I don't know about Simon, but the rest, yeah. What is this Simon slander? Dude, ever since last year, why is everybody going after my boy Simon? Dude, I can't believe the Evolution series is being listed under the main EDG squad matches. That's crazy. Dude, how did Muggle play? Muggle played dude, Muggle was playing Yoru? Okay, all right. I dig it. But like, dude, how are we he's putting up assists across the board nonstop, man. How are we hating on my boy Simon? Dude, he's just constantly assist bombing. 28, 32, 43, 35. Like, this dude is just setting up like nonstop. Man. And you guys want to slander my assist goat, Simon? It's crazy. Yeah, no, Simon's assists are so good. Simon's assists are so good. He is not meant to be the fragger on this team. Simon is actually so good. Simon reminds me of like prime Stacks when RB was on the team. You know what I mean? Like, RB was just getting set up nonstop by Stacks. Like, Simon sets up so much for them. Simon reminds me of my younger self, chat. You know, just going out there, setting up my teammates. So Simon is like Ethan, but when he has no star duelist, his value drops. I mean, sure, but they have a star duelist, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. No, I think, yeah, it's we'll see though. I mean, this Masters is tough. This Masters is tough. Choose the 4 teams from the group that will advance to the next stage. G2, Vitality, EDG, DRX. All right, G2 versus Trace. Oh, I do think this is going to be an actual banger. I think this one goes crazy, actually. Oh, yeah, it is all the number one seeds, huh? I'm leaning towards G2, but I actually think this is going to be a lot closer than some people might think. Dude, Liquid might beat EDG in this first match. Liquid might beat EDG on this first match. But the rest is Chichu versus... Oh, that's true. It's Chichu versus Nats. Oh, man. Yeah. Actually, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. I don't know. No, but I think Liquid might. Did you talk about Valorant joining the esports World Cup? We talked about the, I guess, the other side of it, which is just overall like the money portion. Chichu's crying no matter what. Well, actually, he probably won't cry if he loses. He'll probably just be happy for Nats. He seems like such a wholesome guy. I mean, we got some good stories, right? Like, this is the standard team of these two regions. Very, very, like, strict flow, or not strict, but like clean flow chart, good macro, you know, good info. It's a very, very tactical matchup. You got EDG versus Liquid, Chichu versus Nats. You know, actual super team versus Korean super team. And then you got the Tejo pills. You know, the Tejo pills. It's a good first round. It's a good first round. Yeah, no, it's the Tejo abusers. So I honestly though, the Vitality T1 game could just turn into a Mudfest highlight reel. It could. It really could. No, I'll give Liquid a little. I'll give Liquid a little nudge here. You know? Yeah, I'm down for a T1 Vitality Mudfest. Because I think that would be a just banger highlight reel. Any chance KT gets a Val team? I mean, yeah, sure. But chances seem a little slim. Les versus Meteor, that's a good matchup. That's a good call, yeah. Les versus Meteor is a good call. I think Kix versus Izu could also be like a pretty banger matchup. Only trading punches, no blocks. Listen, I'm a Buzz Glazer, but Buzz versus Durga is not an exciting matchup. Dude, Durga is on one right now. Hey, what's up, Camper Zone? Welcome back. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Dude, 18 Masters is tough. It's tough. This should be fun. February 20th. February 20th. I do want Durka to fake clone just one more time this tournament. You know? I do want them to. Chat. Well, we're out of time because I have a meeting at 6. So no PoE 2, I guess. I guess we'll play some PoE tomorrow. I'll stream again tomorrow. So we'll play some PoE 2 tomorrow. We'll just chill. We got sidetracked. I was just gonna do these and then jump off, but we got so sidetracked in the beginning with all the other news with NRG and esports World Cup. And no, I had fun though. Sorry for being the jobless paragraph. All good. I've done a lot more thinking. I think I'm going to double down on the Pokemon analogies with each Util type having a certain effect multiplier against other kinds of Utils similar to typing. The maps are like rain and Pokemon make it certain. Honestly, that sounds good. No, that I again, I'm not very good at like making this stuff. I'm not very good at making systems. I'm just good at abusing them. But that sounds like it could work. That sounds fun, actually. You can't do that to T1. You can't be neutral. No, I mean, listen, I love Buzz. I love Meteor. I mean, I like the other guys too. I just think they need more time. Yeah, this was fun though. No, this is fun. I appreciate you guys engaging in it. We'll do whether we do the top 10 players live tomorrow on stream with everyone, or whether I just do it on my own and put it up as a video. We'll see. Can you explain the Valorant World Cup? Oh yeah. So for those who don't know, Esports World Cup is an event hosted in Saudi Arabia, essentially by the Saudi Arabian government. It is funded directly through the Saudi Arabian government fund. So it is not a nation to nation World Cup, chat. So I know some people who like don't follow other esports are like, "Ooh, like is this a nation to nation thing?" And it's not. And they just have different games in it, and then they just dump money on teams to like participate, and it's this whole thing that is just very clearly not for the spirit of the competition. It's but it's not whatever you think it is. It's not what you think it is, and it's less fun than it is, and then there's also other not so great implications. So you know, now what I will say is like I will just say this. Not every comment about EWC has to turn into a hate war, okay? What I'm trying to say is like last year what I noticed was people sending hate because, let's say, Xcaster is going to work on this event. And it's like, you can say that you think they made the poor choice, and that, you know, and their argument might be that they have other reasonings where they think it doesn't have the same impact and they're not helping legitimize it, and you know they're just going to take the money and use it somewhere else that's better, etc. And I've heard that argument from people of like, yeah, but me participating or not isn't going to stop the event, so I might as well get that money and then maybe I can like donate it somewhere or use it for better or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense in your own silo as well. Now I've thought about this a lot too, because there was a potential chance last year of potentially getting contacted, and it's like I, you know, when someone told me that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like that makes sense too. But then, you know, to me personally, it was like, yeah, but it only makes sense because that's like me trying to make it make sense, right? So it's like I don't feel comfortable with that, but also I'm not going to hate on you because I think you are being honest with me and that you legitimately believe in that, right? Where they're not like trying to, you know, hide smokes and mirrors, etc. But I think the more important part, quite frankly, the more important part is like, if you want to try to have an impact, like, don't watch it, etc. I think, that's obviously the most you can do as a consumer. But also, I think something that I think this should spark for like the younger generation of people who are consuming esports should be that the counterpoint that a lot of people are making is that this is a necessary evil, right? That people are saying this is a necessary evil because there's no money in esports. Okay, so then the problem you should be solving isn't how do we stop this event. It should be how do we figure out ways to make esports money so that these are no longer necessary, right? So, like people ask all the time, like, hey, like, how do I get into esports? Well, let me tell you, like, I don't know, go get a proper business degree or go get a proper sales degree and figure out how to make money in esports, right? Like let me tell you, that's a much needed market. So there's other things that you should be doing other than just like saying, well, I want more events, but I'm not going to watch it, and then now I'm going to hate it because Riot didn't fix it. And it's, you know what I mean? Like, there's, you can dislike the event and you can disagree with that, but you shouldn't then be like, also, but Riot, you should fix it anyway, and now you suck for not fixing it. Because it's like, there's multiple layers to this, right? So I'm not saying you should excuse it. I'm just saying that you can always turn the discussion into something that can build in the proper direction rather than just rip down all the bad things and then be left with nothing. That's right. Like, that's the conversation I think people should be having, even more so than like, and then I think when it comes up, you can tell people like, I don't think you should watch it. I think it, like we had a discussion in our Discord of like watching it, and then, people working on it, etc. It helps legitimize it. And so I think we should speak with what we have right now as viewers, which is viewing power, and tell them that we don't support this. We have that discussion. You should have that discussion with people all around you. But then the discussion should continue in like, so how do we make this not happen other than just saying we don't like it, right? And so, that should be a future. Currently, the only way is like, but that's not a discussion. That's like currently that seems to be the only answer, but that's also a heated topic, right? But, other businesses don't all rely on gambling sponsorships. So, like, what's missing here, right? And maybe it's audience size, maybe it's audience buying power, or maybe it's whatever else. So things like that. For what it's worth, I don't like it. Like, I don't like it. I don't like EWC. I also just think, the production's like the tournament's just not good to begin with. And then it's like, it's very clearly, hey, we're just gonna, and then they eventually just gave it to a Saudi team because they had the most teams in all the categories. So they just got the winning prize pool anyway. So it's like, well, this is really now you didn't even try to mask it. It was just like money going around in the circle. So it's like, I don't like it, but I'm just trying to say, you need to, like, what I see is people just trying to rip down things they don't like. You should, again, you can have a discussion, but also use that opportunity to try to build something rather than just say this sucks, but this also sucks and that sucks. So now you all suck. And it's like, well, then esports just isn't, we're just not going to go anywhere. So, but also, like, try not to lash out, right? I'm just saying, I've had other peers who have like chosen to work on it, and then they've got like crazy hate, and it's like, don't do that, right? Don't do that. Don't just assume that they're right, like all, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. If we really need to make money, we need to increase the number of people watching. Oh, sure. I mean, yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it. Anyway, chat, I do have to go get ready for the meeting. But since it came up, I just wanted to make that clear because I think earlier we just strictly talked about the money part. But yeah, so I think that should be just something for at least people, if we can help influence the discussion in a proper way, then hopefully. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe some of you guys will be the next Mr. Esports that changes everything and makes it profitable. So we don't need to rely on money dumps. That'd be great. Sounds good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you for all the new subs, gifted subs, bits, etc., super chats, all of that. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about top 10 players, and we'll play some Path of Exile 2 tomorrow. So that will be the plan. Hope you guys all come back tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed your stay. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. And I